Ronk never believed in ghosts. She believed in books, in her phone, and in her NYSC posting letter. She believed in Lagos traffic and cold Fanta. But spirits? Never. That changed the first night in Abuhan village. The village was far, so far that the bus had to stop and turn back before she even got to the gate. A man with a wooden cart carried her bags while she walked the rest of the way under a sky full of stars. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. The people were kind, and the trees were big. The only thing Ronk didn't like was her room. It was small, with a metal zinc roof, and it creaked every time the wind blew. But something strange happened on her very first night. At 12 o'clock midnight, Ronk woke up. Her eyes opened suddenly, like someone had whispered her name. Then she heard it. Cloaked. 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 Footsteps. On her roof. She froze. Her heart began to race. Someone was walking on her zinc roof. The steps were slow. Careful. Not a thief's run. Not a cat's skip. These were heavy, human footsteps. She grabbed her phone. No signal. No light. Just the moon shining through her small window. "Who's there?" she whispered. The footsteps stopped. Silence. She waited. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was a lizard. Maybe. Cloaked. 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 Again. She couldn't take it anymore. She jumped out of bed and rushed to the door. But when she opened it, the yard was empty. The moonlight showed no one. Not even a shadow. She looked up at the roof. Empty. But the sound, it was real. Too real. The next morning, Ronk told the villagers. They only stared. An old woman holding a broom came close and said in a whisper, "Don't look at the roof again at night, my daughter." Ronk blinked. Why? The woman only shook her head and walked away. That night, Ronk tried to sleep early. She wrapped herself tight in her blanket and turned her back to the window. But at 12 o'clock midnight sharp, Cloaked. 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 Again. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Then she heard something even worse. Knock. Knock. From her window. Very soft. Very slow. Then a voice. Ronk. It was her voice. It sounded exactly like her. Ronk, the voice whispered again. She couldn't breathe. She felt her chest tighten like a drum. Was she dreaming? Was someone playing a trick? Her hands were shaking. Her eyes wide. She stayed like that until morning. When the sun came up, she ran outside. Again, no one was there. But her window had tiny handprints on it. And her own feet were dirty, like she had walked in the bush. But she never left her bed. Or did she? That evening, she walked to the market square. She found a girl named Faye, another copper, who had been in the village for 3 months. Ronk asked in a quiet voice, "Faye, do you ever hear footsteps?" Faye froze. Then she looked around, grabbed Ronk's arm, and pulled her behind a wooden stall. "Never speak of it near the elders," Faye whispered. "You've heard it, haven't you?" Ronk nodded slowly. "The footsteps on the roof, the knock at midnight, the voice that sounds like yours," Faye whispered. Ronk gasped. "You know." Faye's eyes were wide. "I've heard it too. All the new corps members do. But we don't talk about it. Not unless we want to disappear." Ronk's heart skipped. Faye continued, "They say in this village, some people fly at night. Not in planes. Not in dreams. Their spirits leave their bodies. They walk the roofs. They whisper through windows. Sometimes, they don't come back." Ronk shook her head. But I don't fly. I don't even sleepwalk. Faye stared at her. Have you checked? Checked what? Your bed. That night, Ronk made a plan. She tied one end of her wrapper to her ankle. She put baby powder by the door and placed her phone to record. She lay in bed, wide awake, waiting. The clock ticked. 11:50. 11:59. Then, CL okay. CL okay. CL okay. Again. Footsteps. Soft and steady. Knock. Knock. At her window. Then she saw it. From the tiny mirror on the wall, facing her bed. She saw herself. Lying in bed. Sleeping. But she was awake. She sat up. But in the mirror, her body did not move. Her chest felt tight. Her breath short. Then, her phone flickered. And the recording showed her sitting up in bed, hours ago. Opening the door. Walking out. But she had no memory of that. She had walked out, without knowing. She wasn't just hearing footsteps. She was making them. Ronk's knees hit the floor. Her wrapper was untied. The powder by the door had footprints. Her own. She wasn't being haunted. She was the one who flew. Ronk didn't sleep again. Not after what she saw. She had watched her own body sleep, while her spirit walked. She was the one making the footsteps on the roof. She had gone outside. She had walked. But she didn't remember doing it. Her body stayed in bed. But her soul, it flew. She sat on the cold floor of her room, holding her knees. The rooster crowed outside. It was morning. But something inside her was shaking. That day, she went to the village square early. The sun was bright. Women were frying akara. Goats moved around lazily. But Ronk couldn't enjoy any of it. She found Faye again. I flew, Ronk whispered. I really flew last night. Faye looked sad. So it has started. What do you mean? You're becoming like them. Like who? Faye lowered her voice. The night travelers. Ronk blinked. But I didn't want to fly. I don't want to go anywhere. Faye nodded. You didn't choose it. It chose you. Ronk felt her chest grow tight. What if I stop it? What if I tie myself down? You can tie your body, Faye said softly, but can you tie your soul? Ronk didn't answer. She walked home, slowly. That night, she didn't sleep. She kept all the lights on. She wore her NYSC uniform. She kept her phone in her hand. She even placed a Bible beside her pillow. The wind outside was loud. Owls hooted. She looked out the window, trying not to be afraid. Then she saw it. A woman. In white. Standing under her window. Still. Silent. Looking straight up. Ronk jumped back. Her heart pounded. She peeked again. The woman was still there. Long white dress. Barefoot. Skin pale like cold ash. And her eyes looked just like Ronk's. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Just stood and stared. Ronk rushed to the door. She opened it and looked outside. No one was there. She turned back toward the window. And the woman was back. Exactly in the same spot. Like she had never left. Ronk felt sick. She couldn't scream. She couldn't cry. She closed her curtain and sat on the floor. What was happening to her? In the morning, she walked to the elder's hut. She was tired. Her eyes red. Her hands shaking. I need help, she said. The elders looked at one another. One old woman, Mama Abik, asked, What is troubling you, child? Wrong said everything. The footsteps. The flying. The woman in white. When she finished, the hut was silent. One elder said, "She has come back." Another whispered, "After all these years." Wrong was confused. Who? Mama Abik leaned forward. Long ago, there was another copper girl. She looked just like you. Kind. Smart. She stayed in that same room. Wrong's breath caught. She started working at night too, the old woman continued. And one day, she didn't come back. Her body slept. But her soul never returned. Wrong swallowed hard. Some say she still walks, said another elder. Still trying to get back inside. Wrong gasped. The woman in white. Yes, Mama Abik nodded. She watches others now. Waiting. Looking for a body to enter. Wrong's skin went cold. That night, Wrong didn't want to sleep. But her eyes were heavy. She tried to stay awake. She sang. She prayed. She even pinched herself. But her eyes closed. She dreamed. She was walking through the forest in her NYSC uniform, but everything was silent, no birds, no wind, not even her own footsteps. Then she saw the woman in white. She was standing in the middle of the path. Still. Waiting. But this time, the woman smiled. And her face began to change. It started to look more and more like Wrong's. Same nose. Same eyes. Same scar above the lip. Then the woman spoke. Her voice was soft, but strange. You are tired, Wrong. Let me rest for you. Wrong shook her head. The woman stepped forward. You don't have to carry the weight. I'll wear your skin. I'll do it better. Just let go. Wrong screamed. She turned and ran. She woke up in sweat, heart racing. She looked at her mirror. Her reflection blinked. But she didn't. Her body stayed still. But the reflection smiled. Wrong woke up with pain in her legs. She had been sleeping for hours, but she didn't feel rested. Her back ached. Her feet were sore. And when she pulled off her blanket, she saw something that made her freeze. Her toes were covered in red dust, the kind found in the village bush paths. But she hadn't left her room all night, or had she? She touched her head. It was spinning again. Why is this happening to me? She whispered. She ran to Faye's room at the copper sludge. Faye opened the door, looking tired too. I had the dream again, Wrong said. Faye stepped aside, letting her in. Tell me. I was walking, Wrong said. But I wasn't in control. I saw the woman again. She kept calling me. She told me to rest. To let her in. Faye looked nervous. Did you answer her? Wrong shook her head. No. But she smiled. Like she already knew what would happen. Faye sat down on the bed. You know what they say here. Once you hear your name in the dream world 3 times, and you answer, your soul won't return. Wrong frowned. But I didn't answer. Faye looked at her. You didn't, yet. That day, Wrong tried everything. She wore a charm someone gave her. She sprinkled salt at her door. She even tied a bell to her toes so she'd hear if she moved in her sleep. She told herself she'd stay strong. That she wouldn't leave her body again. But when night came, everything changed. She fell asleep faster than usual. Like something was pulling her down. A heavy weight on her chest. A voice whispering softly, like a lullaby. Then, she opened her eyes. But not in her bed. She was in the forest. Again. Barefoot. Dressed in white. Surrounded by trees. The sky was dark, but there was no moon. Ronk looked down. Her feet were moving, but she wasn't walking. Something was dragging her. No hands. No ropes. Just her body moving forward, and her heart screaming inside. "Stop," she shouted. But her mouth made no sound. Then she saw them. Figures. People. Walking silently among the trees. All dressed in white. All barefoot. Their eyes glowing faintly. She was not alone. They didn't speak. They didn't blink. They just walked in a line. And she was one of them. Suddenly, a loud cry echoed in the air. "Ronk!" She stopped. The voice came again. "Ronk!" It was coming from behind. She turned slowly. And there she was. The woman in white. Smiling. But this time, she wasn't far away. She was right behind Ronk. And now, she looked exactly like her. Same face. Same eyes. Same NYSC tag on her chest. The only difference, her eyes were hollow. Empty. Like two deep holes filled with darkness. "You're tired," she said. Her voice was cold. "You're scared." Ronk shook her head. The woman stepped closer. "You sleep, but you don't rest," she whispered. "Let me carry your dreams." Ronk stepped back. "No." The woman tilted her head. "You already did." Suddenly, everything went black. Ronk woke up in her bed, gasping for air. She looked at her feet. Red dust. Again. She looked at her mirror. This time, the reflection was already staring at her. But she hadn't even moved. The reflection smiled first. Later that morning, Faye found her by the village stream. Ronk was quiet. Faye sat beside her. "You flew again, didn't you?" Ronk nodded. "And this time, I couldn't stop it." Faye touched her hand. "You're changing." Ronk looked into the water. "What if I can't come back next time?" Faye didn't answer. Because there was nothing left to say. Ronk woke up, but something felt wrong. The air in her room was heavy. Her blanket was still on her body. Her phone was by her pillow. The lamp was off. But she couldn't move. She tried to lift her hand. Nothing. Tried to turn her head. Nothing. It was like her body was frozen. Like something had locked her inside. She wanted to scream, but her mouth would not open. Then she heard it. That voice. Ronk. It was the woman in white. She wasn't outside this time. She was inside the room. Inside the room and standing at the foot of Ronk's bed. Ronk's eyes were wide. She could see everything, but still couldn't move. The woman stepped closer. Her face looked just like Ronk's. Her smile was slow. Cold. Like someone who had been waiting a long time. "I told you," she said. "You let me in." Ronk wanted to cry, but no tears came. "I've been walking for years," the woman whispered. "I need to rest now. Inside your body." Then the woman touched Ronk's leg. And in that second, Ronk's soul flew. She felt herself lift out of her body, like smoke rising from fire. She floated near the ceiling, looking down. There she was, her own body, still lying in bed. And beside it, the woman in white. Still smiling. Still watching. Then the woman lay down in Ronk's body. Like she had done it before. Like it already belonged to her. And when her eyes opened, they were not Ronk's eyes anymore. "No!" Ronk shouted. But her voice made no sound. She turned and ran. Only she wasn't running with legs. She was flying, fast, through darkness. Through wind. Through voices. Everything blurred. She flew past the roof. past the trees, past the copper sludge. She was flying away from herself, but she didn't know where she was going. And worse, she didn't know how to come back. Suddenly, a bright light flashed in front of her. Then, she was standing in a wide, dark space. All around her were mirrors. Thousands of them, each one showing a different version of her. One with long braids, one as a child, one smiling, one crying, one sleeping. And in the biggest mirror, she saw the woman in white, sitting on Wrong's bed, holding her phone, smiling. Wrong banged on the mirror. "Get out of my body," she shouted. The woman looked up and laughed. Back in the real world, Faye knocked on Wrong's door. "Wrong, you're late for morning parade." No answer. Faye opened the door. Wrong was sitting up on the bed, already dressed. But something felt off. Her face looked blank. Her eyes, too calm. "Are you okay?" Faye asked. Wrong smiled slowly. "I'm rested now." Faye frowned. She noticed something strange. The NYSC tag on Wrong's chest had one tiny letter wrong. It said, "Wrong," with a dot below the E. Wrong never spelled it like that. Never. Faye stepped back. Meanwhile, in the mirror world, Wrong was screaming, "Let me go. That's my life. That's my body." The mirrors began to crack. One by one, the sky above her rumbled. She fell to her knees. Then a voice whispered from behind, "To return, you must remember your real name." Wrong turned. It was Mama Abik, the village elder. But she looked younger, glowing, spirit-like. "My name is Wrong," she said. "No," the elder replied. "Not just Wrong. Say your full name. The name given at birth." Wrong closed her eyes. She thought hard, then whispered, "Aderong." In that moment, the mirrors shattered. The sky turned white, and she felt herself falling. Back in the room, Faye gasped. Wrong had gone stiff. Her hands shook. Then suddenly, she blinked. Fast. Like waking up from a long sleep. "Faye," she whispered. Her voice sounded normal again. "Real." Faye rushed over and hugged her. "You're back," she cried. Wrong held her tight. "I thought I was lost." Faye looked into her eyes. Was it her? Wrong nodded. "She almost took everything." Faye held her hand. "But you came back." Wrong looked at the mirror. The reflection was normal again. And for the first time in days, she felt like herself.